Hello and welcome to the first episode of our channel, the Indic Insights. Today, we are going to talk about the Panchatantra. Recently, the government of India launched a new education policy. A key feature that stands out is the adoption of innovative techniques in teaching. But there is no clarity how they are going to do this. Well, they can take a look at ancient India, more precisely at the Panchatantra of Vishnu Sharma. You may be wondering why. The Panchatantra was written as an alternative education methodology to transform a 12-year course of Niti Shastra into a book of stories. So now, let me tell you the fascinating story of its origin and how two foxes of ancient India became famous worldwide and influenced numerous fables, ballads, and rhymes. The Panchatantra is apparently dated to 200 BC. It was authored by Vishnu Sharma. We might have all come across the stories of Panchatantra in our childhood. Those were the stories which had interesting characters such as talking animals who impart us with practical wisdom and morals. The stories of Panchatantra are also depicted as rock arts in various locations all across India. The origin story of Panchatantra is mentioned in the beginning of the book itself. There once lived a king by the name of Amar Shakti. He ruled the region of Mahilaropaya. He was a learned man and used to stay very busy with the affairs of the state. So much so that he had very little time for his three sons. As he grew older, he started thinking about his legacy. And so he had a conversation with his children regarding the same. He was shocked when he realized that his children were least interested in education and had no idea about statecraft. Now, those were the days when Takshila was flourishing and Indians had an elaborate education system. Ancient Indians believed that there were four goals to be achieved in life: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Dharma means righteous conduct, artha stands for acquiring of wealth and fame, kama signifies fulfillment of pleasures in an aesthetic manner, and moksha means spiritual practices and ultimately the liberation from the cycles of birth and death. The goal of the education system was to empower the students in all these four aspects and make them ready for life. Seeing the disinterested nature of his children, the king was worried how they would go through such an elaborate education system and hence was worried about his succession. And so he called a meeting with his minister to discuss the same. One of the ministers said, "O king, it takes 12 years of hard work to master the knowledge of Dharma Shastra, the Artha Shastra of Chanakya, and the Kama Shastra of Vatsayana. One must read these texts and then reflect on Dharma, Artha, and Kama, and only then intellect would get developed." Another minister explained that 12 years is a long time. Then, a minister by the name of Sumati stood up and said, "The study of the Shastras is intensive, so it is better to extract the essential principles. A way has to be thought out so that the princess can be made capable of gaining knowledge which is simple and precise." He suggested the name of Vishnu Sharma for the same. Vishnu Sharma realized that normal teaching techniques would not work with the princess. So, he took up the challenge of devising an abbreviated and entertaining course on Niti Shastra in the form of stories. The stories were designed to impart practical wisdom which would be necessary for governance. And this is how the Panchatantra was written as an alternative education methodology. Panchatantra literally means five principles, and it is named so because the book is divided into five sections, each section containing stories related to a particular topic. The first section is named Mitra Bheda, meaning loss of friends, and covers almost 45% of the book length. This section deals with the story of two jackals by the name of Karataka and Damanaka. Damanaka was a cunning jackal and Karataka is his moralizing friend. Both of them were ministers of the Lion King. However, they were removed from the position by the king due to some fallout. The stories deal with how these two jackals conspire to break the alliances and friendships of the Lion King to take revenge. Also, through the conversation of these two jackals are several other fables of this section told. The stories traveled out of India for the first time in the 6th century. It was transmitted to Persia, where the foxes Karataka and Damanaka came to be known as Kalilak and Dimnak. From Persia, they reached Arabia and finally reached Europe in the 8th century. The stories also somehow managed to reach Indonesia. The story of how Panchatantra traveled out of India for the first time is well known. Barzo was a physician in the court of Khusro II, the emperor of Persia. He had heard of an elixir called Sanjeevani, which grew in the mountains of India and would bring back the dead. Barzo traveled all over India but in vain. Finally, he met a saint who told him that the Sanjeevani was actually a metaphor for a book. The saint guided Barzo towards the book. However, Barzo copied the contents of the book and sent it to Persia. In Persia, the text was translated into Pahlavi language, though that translation is lost now. The first available translation is in the Old Syrian language. It was discovered in a monastery in Turkey in the 1870s. In 750 CE, the Panchatantra was translated into Arabic under the Caliph Al-Mansur and was titled Kalila Vadimna. Subsequently, it reached Europe where the Panchatantra was translated into Hebrew, Greek, Latin, and various other European languages. In 1483, the German translation became the first printed copy to be published by the famous Gutenberg press. Earlier, it had already traveled to Tibet, China, and the other Southeast Asian countries. An old Javanese version have also been found in Indonesia. A Laos version called Nandaka Prakarana and a Thai version called Nang Tantrai have been discovered. It is believed that Aesop's fables, Arabian Nights, and 30 to 50% of all Western nursery rhymes and ballads have been influenced by the Panchatantra. Panchatantra became famous in the West and Middle East by the name of Fables of Bitbai or the Fables of Pilpai. Jean de La Fontaine, a famous French novelist of the 17th century, has acknowledged his indebtedness to sage Pilpai for inspiration. Apart from Panchatantra, the Jataka tales and Kitapadesha are similar books of fables from ancient India. They too have played a part in influencing fables all over the world. And this is how a book of fables of ancient India ended up influencing all of Asia, Middle East, and the West. With this, we come to the end of our first video. This was the first video of our channel, the Indic Insights. The idea behind this channel is to explore the mysteries of ancient India, which are fascinating but about which we know very little. We have a lot more interesting topics planned for our upcoming videos. Meanwhile, if you do like the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, please put your thoughts and suggestions in the comment sections below. I will see you in the next video.